Hi guys, welcome back to the Hot Girls Cry podcast. Today we have our second guest, Monique. She is a fellow Dallas resident and she also has her own jewelry brand and she's a jewelry designer. So we're so excited to have her.
Thanks guys. I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
So we're going to start off with our gratefuls. So if you just want to share something you're grateful for, it can be small.
I'm grateful for Valerie.
Oh,
yeah. She was so when I first moved to Dallas and I launched my business, you were one of our first supporters. You bought She Can Do All Things ring, I think. Mm-hmm. Or maybe She Is Fearless. I forgot. But I'm grateful for you, and then you helping me with my business, too, and now I'm here, so I'm grateful for you.
Aw, thank you. Our guests keep love bombing me.
I know. We were laughing because our first guest said that she was grateful for Valerie, too. And
I was like...
No, support like that, it's hard to come by, especially me not being from Texas, so, these connections I always love, so.
Yeah, she's a special one.
Thank you. And that's so crazy, too, because we were talking the other day at one of our photo shoots, and I was like, how did we even meet? And she was like, you bought one of my rings. And I was like, did I? I just thought we met at an event or something and started shooting together. I didn't even realize because, I love jewelry and, I loved her stuff. But, I was like, I had no idea because she just, knew that my ring size off the top of her head. I'm like, how do you know that? And she was like, well, you bought my stuff. And I was like, oh.
Yeah. Oh my God,
crazy.
That's so cute. That's so cute that you remember too. You're like ring size, Valerie.
I remember all of my first buyers, my first customers. I never forget any of my first customers. Orders didn't come in, regularly, every day. So you see certain names and you're like, oh, okay, and then you just memorize it, and I don't know. So I just knew she was one of my first customers. So
that is so sweet.
That is so sweet. That's one thing I was going to say, too, in our last episode we just recorded is, I'm grateful for the women who started the business. It's they're the reason our businesses can become what they are, Yeah,
and it's just amazing that you get to work with women, too, especially in the business area as well.
Yeah, so that's my grateful is, the women who help us get where we are today.
She's grateful for women.
Yes.
I love it.
All women love women.
Yes, I am grateful for my new furniture that arrived.
It do be cute.
It's all finally coming together. I just did a whole apartment revamp and all of it has finally arrived. So I'm excited to start putting it together. And just seeing my space come to life, which feels very superficial compared to what you guys said.
No, I mean, I work from home, so revamping, sometimes you just need new energy, new space. So, I get it.
I just love home decor, too.
It's a hobby.
Yes. And I saw a lot of your apartment, too, from your Instagram, which is so cute, by the way. Both of you are doing such an amazing job on that Instagram because I know Valerie does a lot of your photo shoots for your jewelry brand, but it's just so chic and classy and just so Pinteresty and beautiful. It looks so good.
I kind of tell Valerie what is in my mind, and then she just runs with it. So
yeah, I feel like you guys kind of have a very similar aesthetic, so it really works.
Yeah, it does work.
Yeah, no, I love her. When I go into her apartment, when we do the shoots at her apartment, I'm like, I want this. This is my home.
Yes.
But I was dying the other day at one of the reels that you posted when you put your boyfriend to work.
She showed me that. You guys have to go look at her Instagram because it's so cute and funny.
James, you are the best partner ever. He does not even hesitate to help me. Aww. So I appreciate that. So I'm grateful for him too. So.
Aww. That's really sweet that he's so willing to jump and be there for you for your business.
Yeah.
Mine has opted for emotional support, not physical.
That too.
I guess, Aiden, I guess.
We're grateful. Regardless, any support we'll take.
Okay, so just starting off, what kind of inspired you or got you even in the realm of the idea to even think about starting to design jewelry?
My story goes back a little further.
Take us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was in college, 2005, 2006. It was my freshman year. I got into a car accident I was with a boy, and he was speeding down. It's like a straightaway road, and the speed limit was like 30 miles an hour, and he was going like 65, 70. He was speeding. A car pulled out in front of us. He tried to swerve, but the car like hopped the median and then like fishtailed, and then all the oncoming traffic hit me in my side. So I was in the hospital with a broken leg in 4 places, broken collarbone, broken jaw. They tried to pull me to the driver's side to get me out of the car. And I was in so much pain. I was like, God, I guess I'm going to heaven. Like, I was ready to go. I've never been in that much pain.
Yeah.
So it was like, if I die right here, I'm okay. And sure enough, they pulled me out and I'm fine. But maybe in 2016, 17, 2018, I was working a corporate job where I hated going to work. And I was in DC, and everyone's so like ambitious. And that's just really not me. I'm a creative. So I was like, God, you did not save me from that accident to just like live this mundane, boring life. And that's what like took me on a journey of like, what am I really here for? And so through that journey, he was like really teaching me how to encourage the women that I was around. And I will never forget this. It was clear as day. And this is not how I normally hear God. I was walking back to my desk, and then I just hear this like loud voice, and it said, "Right." I was like, the heck? Like,
Sir?
Where did that come from? Like, and I didn't know. I'm like, right what? So for like, not years, for months, I was like, right what, God? Like, right what? So I didn't get an answer. So I just kept writing everything.
I thought you were saying right as in someone was trying to tell you to turn right.
No, like right.
Like a W.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
No.
You're like, I am right.
Yeah.
I thought
like, right.
Okay.
And
okay.
I hate writing.
Yeah,
Like,
me too.
I'm not a writer. And so I didn't get an answer. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to write everything because I don't know what that means. So I just started writing everything. I put out like this like planner agenda, and I wrote like little encouraging messages. And then I launched what was called like a Kickstarter. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of those. That thing flopped. And I was mad at God. I was like, God, I heard you so clearly, and you told me to write, and here I am, and I write it, and I launch it, and like 6 people bought into my Kickstarter. I was like,
So you created planners?
I did.
Okay.
It didn't work.
Well, we just did a podcast over how to start a business. And we were just talking about how no one really talks about their failures and how, you can start something and it just might not work out. So.
Yeah. I was pissed. I was
Yeah.
like, God, you told me to write, and I
Yeah.
write, and like no one supports me. Like, what is this? So I was so upset, and I feel like he like gave me time to like mourn the idea of like that business not working. I went on vacation, and then was it that January 2019? He's like, okay, you've cried. Let's go. You need to write. I'm like, God, write what? So I saw like a cigar band. Like it wasn't like one of those, because mantra bands were out, but they had like the small bands. So I saw a cigar band. I was like, what if I write encouraging messages on these rings? And so I was like, okay. So then I started finding vendors. Then I started figuring out what I was going to put on the rings. I had a few necklaces too at the time.
This is 2019?
2019.
And were you living in Texas at this point?
No, I was still
okay.
in Virginia and working in the DC area. And then so sourced vendors. In November, I launched an Instagram. I had 4 followers. I had my graphic designer, my sister, and my 2 cousins. I started getting sales like from random strangers on the internet, and it just worked.
That's how you know it's good.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I was just supposed to
What
write.
was your very first one?
What was, She Can Do All Things.
Oh my gosh.
She can do all
On
things.
a ring?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
You are enough. She can do all things. You are enough. And I didn't have God is with you, which is actually my bestseller right now. She is fearless. Those were my 3 rings that I started with. And basically it's like messages like for she is fearless. Like you don't have to be fearless. but it's a reminder that you can push past that and actually be fearless. So I was like, these are my, people just started buying. So, and then I just grew, like I took off after I posted, after I created the Instagram. And I've just been going ever since. And yeah, it's all from like hearing right. And don't know why. Like, it was crazy. But it's actually been a blessing ever since. So we haven't stopped.
And so it's only been 4 years. That's wild.
Yeah, that really is wild.
Yeah. And so I'm so glad that it wasn't meant for me to write planners, because like that sucks.
This is so much more fun.
Right. Yeah. Jewelry, playing in jewelry all day, like, you know, like being a creative and actually like getting to, you know, put something else fun out. Like I couldn't write. I couldn't sustain a planner business. I hate writing like that. But I can come up with an inspirational quote real quick. Like, so I think that that's just, it was meant for me to do, not, you know, the other thing. So I'm glad it didn't work out.
Were you always really big into wearing jewelry and accessorizing with jewelry, and that was always a big part of your life?
Yeah. So I'm that girl. Like, so my frustration, and one of the things that we make it, we use stainless steel, is I was one of the girls in H&M buying jewelry every week because it was like tarnishing and turning copper.
Claire's.
Yeah. So like that was a big thing. Like I wanted people to buy it, but I didn't want it to just last for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
no.
And then my sister, she always sends me pictures of what she's about to wear. So like people would always come to me, and in my skinnier days too, I had like a blog that had like, that was fashion heavy too. So it just kind of all worked out. Like I like jewelry and I like fashion too. So
that definitely goes hand in hand. I feel like because of Val has made me realize the emphasis and how much jewelry can really add to not only your outfit, but I feel like it's also, this is so deep for no reason, but it's kind of like an extension of who you are, because a lot of times it's something you never take off or you always have on you.
It's like a personality.
Yeah, for sure. And it just kind of becomes a part of you, and it can do so much for your outfit as well.
Like, I mean, fashion wise, I consider myself classic, but like, even if I am wearing just like a monochromatic look, like just adding a few pieces of jewelry definitely like takes it, you know, to a different level. So.
No, it really does. I saw a TikTok of this girl that was showing her outfits before and after jewelries and accessories, and the difference that it made. And to think that I was one of those girls who just had hoops on and that was my only accessory, I was like, wow, no ma'am.
We got to get you some stuff.
No, for sure. Okay. For sure. When you walked in here and you like your jewelry, of course, it's just so beautiful. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, definitely.
I think it does take time though to like kind of figure out like your vibe, because I feel like you even said the other day that you remember me mentioning like a year or two ago that there was just a day where I decided I was like, I want to build a staple, timeless wardrobe, and I've just committed to like building that. And I feel like my jewelry, my clothing, like I kind of work towards it. Now I feel like, okay, I have my look, and it took time, but I feel like before that it was kind of like following trends, and it was like, what is the look that I like. And I feel like once I finally established it, I'm like, okay, now I always have something to wear. I always have like a look, and I feel like I always look, or I always feel put together. Yeah. And I get like a lot of compliments now. I feel like I'm like my shoes or my clothes or my earrings, and I'm like, okay, like I feel like this really works for me. And I feel like once you kind of find what works for you, then it's just always works for you, I guess.
I feel like, so whenever I see you at the like shoots, you're always like, you know, it's like, you know, kind of chill, but you have like your pieces on, and I'm like, she's so fly.
Yeah, it's chill but fly.
And that's what I always tell her. I'm like, when people compliment me too, I'm like, thank you. Like I work so hard. I'm like, I want that effortless look, but I'm like, I tried so hard.
I told you my assistant was Gen Z, and she would come, and I'm like, how are you so cool? I used to be so cool.
No, you're
so
cool.
Hard now.
You are,
I don't know. No, like I see you guys, and I'm like, Gen
Z's a different kind of cool though.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, because they really are effortless.
It's so frustrating, but yeah. Oh well.
But when you started making your first couple rings, like what did how? Because where did you even know to get rings?
I don't No, like literally, like this was like one of the divine things in my life. I don't know. I kept trying. I'm like, oh, nope, that vendor doesn't work. I kept researching. There was nothing online.
But did you just literally Google like
how to start a jewelry business?
Okay. And like you just found like
it was trial and error. Yeah.
Jewelry manufacturers. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I believed so much in this dream. Like I knew this is what I was supposed to do. I knew I was supposed to do something. I didn't know how I was supposed to get to the point of like it actually like, working, but I knew that I was supposed to be doing it. So I was a homeowner in DC. I had a house. Mm-hmm. I moved out in February. My sister charged me $600. So what I would do with the money that I was saving is I would reach out to manufacturers, tell them what I was trying to do, send pictures, send possible measurements. They would make me a prototype. I would get the prototype back, be like, this is ugly, or this isn't the color gold that I want. Go to the next manufacturer. Try it again. Until I stumbled on a manufacturer that like worked and it looked great. Quality was great. And then I just went on from there. And then
do you still work with them?
Yeah. In some aspects, they still do my chains, but I found a better ring vendor. Okay. So we've switched all of our rings over to another vendor. But I will say, like, when I like tested the idea, I gave it to my sister, I gave it to my 2 cousins, and I gave it to my graphic designer. And they were like, Monique, we love this. And I was like, you do? And then they were like, yeah. And then so that's why I started with 4 people on Instagram, and then it just grew. So
amazing.
That's kind of tested my ideas. But yeah, I literally don't know how I did that. But me moving in with my little sister, and then that is an ego like thing on its own. Mm-hmm. Me being the older sister, living with my younger sister, so I can start my business. Like I was like 30, living in my sister's guest bedroom. But like that allowed me to save enough money to start my business, and then it allowed me to save enough money to move to Texas.
Yeah, you're willing to make the sacrifices that it took in order to make it work.
Yeah. I knew that one was going to work. The planner, I was okay. But yeah, the jewelry made sense for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it kind of just clicked. You were like, oh, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Right. Mm-hmm. For sure. So when it comes to jewelry, this is kind of a superficial question, but do you think more is more or less is more?
Oh, I'm both ways.
Okay. Either or?
Oh, sometimes, you can't tell me nothing. Even in our photo shoots, I layer it on. Like,
yeah.
And I think that for photography-wise, more is more. Or like more is perfect.
Yeah.
More, you can never have enough for like photography-wise. But like if I'm going out sometimes, like especially like the drop hoops that are in right now, like if you just slick back your hair and just wear the
they're really, really cute. Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I definitely like it both ways. Sometimes I love to be a little extra and just put everything on. And then sometimes I dial it back and it's like, look at my neck.
Yeah.
You guys see my collarbone? Like, you want to be regal. So.
Yeah. Highlight like a certain piece to give that piece its moment.
Right.
Okay. So my next question is, what does a day in the life look like for you? It's like packing orders or designing or just whatever goes into it. Start us off from your morning.
Okay. So I will say my mornings now, I am so grateful for, and I do not take for granted. When I was living in DC, in Virginia and commuting, I lived 20 miles away from my job, but I spent an hour in the car in the morning to get to work and then an hour in the car on the way home. Oof. So now I wake up grateful. So now I get up like maybe around 7:30, walk my dog, my golden retriever around the Dallas Arts District, and she likes saying hi to everyone going to work. And then I come back. I do have a contract with SiriusXM, so I work for them during the day. Then maybe around 4, I start packing orders, then take it to the post office, and then I just hang out with James. So my days now are more so like me focused, and they are chill and less stressful, but that's my typical day. Packing orders does take a long time. Creating content on top of packing orders takes a while. So like in the morning, like I'll get up, I'll start like scrolling on Instagram, trying to get inspiration on how I can like create reels that are different than the ones, the few days prior. And that's hard. I'm not a content creator. Being a business owner makes you be a content creator, but I'm not a content creator. And I'm grateful for Valerie. Like she took over the flat lays and like the covers and stuff like that. 'Cause one thing off my plate is like amazing. My time is what I value these days, and just trying to get the perfect picture. Like, and then me and perfection. If I don't feel it's perfect, I won't post, but then that like hurts my page too, because Instagram wants you to post all the time.
Can you speak to like in the business how many hats you do have to wear? So obviously you're the jewelry creator, like the designer, you're the content creator, but you're also packing the orders and fulfilling the orders. Like what all are you having to do in the business? Like I'm sure there's like banking as well, and then you're doing all the things. Like what else is there?
So emails, text message marketing, content creating. I don't handle customer service, thankfully. My assistant, Rhonda, she's amazing. She's from New Orleans. She'll text me like, hey, so-and-so needs something, like, with their order. Do we have this in stock? Because she's remote. She doesn't like come to the office. So it's me like following up and like giving her answers and stuff like that. Managing social media. I know Valerie does that, but for me personally, I like being like so close to my followers. Like I think that kind of is what makes our brand special, is that a lot of our followers feel that they know me. Yeah. Like, and so like I do like to keep that aspect, but the content creation, the customer interactions, everything, it's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a few things that I've passed off to other people, that because I always feel that I should, like, especially for my business, I say, what's my zone of genius? My zone of genius is marketing, like talking to my customers through social media. My zone of genius is creating pieces that I know my customers would like. And my zone of genius is delegating. Yeah. So like if I could delegate, that's what I'm going to do. And then I gave, I hire Valerie to do my photography, because that's not my zone of genius. I'm competent.
Yeah.
That's not my zone of genius.
And you're like the visionary too. Like you always come with like the best concepts, and then we can just capture them.
Yeah. I'm competent, and I have the vision in my head. I can't execute photography like she can.
Way. Yeah.
So I'm not going to try. It takes up so much time, and I'm frustrated. And so, I try to always operate in my zone of geniuses, and then whatever I'm like competent, I give it to somebody else.
And I think as a business owner, it's important to recognize, because it may just be a matter of putting your ego aside and handing off, because at the end of the day, it's just more efficient. Like you said, like you could take the photos, but are you going to spend 9 hours doing it when you can just hire us to do it in an hour?
Right.
And it's not like, there's no harm in doing that, but I know you've shared with me a couple of times, just like in our shoots and stuff, when we're just like talking about the journey, that as a content creator, like, it is important to share your journey, and like your audience really connects with you as a person and with you being the brand owner. But isn't it a struggle sometimes to share and to show up as the content creator and the face of the brand, when maybe you personally might be having like a rough time, like to show up all the time? Like she gets it.
I told Valerie that if you ever see my back in too many reels, I've had a terrible day. And I cannot show my face. Like if I've been crying, if I don't have the capacity to put makeup on to be on camera, you're just going to get my back.
It's a lot.
I try to like still post the reel. I can't be in it because I look a hot mess, because I'm dealing with life.
Yeah.
As are all my customers, right? And that's why I feel like they're drawn to me, is because I have like inspirational messages. But
and it's relatable.
Like if you see my back in reels, it's because I've been through it.
And it's like the struggle of like you said, like they want to connect with you, so you need to show up, because that's when they connect with you, and then you can make sales. But then it's like you maybe don't want to show up because you're just going through it because you're human. But then if you don't show up, then your business isn't going to be thriving.
Right.
And it's like, how do we keep the hamster wheel going?
Literally, it's one day at a time. Sometimes it's 1 hour at a time, because it's like, so in March, I lost my full-time job, and my business is successful, but cash flow, when you're growing and you're successful, like, and that's why I appreciate conversations with Valerie too. It was like, I know I'm successful, but shoot, like, we have stuff to buy and like stuff to keep up with.
Yeah.
And my full-time job was allowing me to just pay these invoices with no problem, because it was a constant flow of cash.
Yeah.
When I lost that, it's like, and there was one I was like, Valerie, like, she sent me the invoice. I said, girl, I got you tomorrow. That's what I get paid from Shopify. And so so that was so stressful. That was probably like, I've never prayed that hard. I've never like tried to like talk myself out of going into a slump, because I have dealt with depression in the past. My mom was like, don't let your mind go there. Just keep getting up every morning. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I would write myself messages on my board just to like remember to like, don't fall into that, because once I fall down into that like depressive, like, it's hard to get back out.
It really is.
And
yeah.
so like trying not to go there and trying not to let my mind go there was very, very difficult. But like me just trying to show up, like just do the real, just keep showing up and keep showing up. And, you know, eventually it got better, but adjusting.
Yeah. And I think no one talks about what success means and what it really looks like, because I own a 6-figure agency. Like, we hit 6 figures in our first year in business. And like, that sounds all fluffy and lovely and like so successful, but like, that doesn't mean I have 6 figures in my pocket.
Right.
Like, that doesn't mean that I personally make 6 figures. Like, that doesn't account for the taxes, paying the team. It doesn't account for so many things. And like, I just think like people don't really grasp like all the things that go into it. So when you have all these people saying like, I have a 7-figure blah, 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 it's like, okay, but what are you actually like netting, you know? And so it's just like sales. Like, it's just, it's all just jargon, you know? And so it's hard when like you just don't really know what people are talking about. And so success looks different. And it's not to say that like neither of us have a successful business, but like there's so much that goes into it. And then it's like you just never know what's actually going on behind the scenes. So we both have successful businesses, but there are so many ebbs and flows.
Right.
And cash flow is a bitch.
Right. No, like I was thinking about it because you know, I was trying to figure out like, what does success look like to me? So right now I do have a contract as a full-time thing going on, but I was like, okay, so that ends in 5 months. I was like, so the cool apartment, like that doesn't, at the end of the day, you're just like broke in a cool apartment. Like, so I was like, what does that look like? So I was like, I'm actually glad that I had the chance to kind of like go through that. So like, I know now, like, we don't need all of it. Like, that doesn't make success. Like, for me, a fulfilled and successful lifestyle would be, you know, even if I didn't have that other job, I could still like, you know, have like everything paid for, like the flow is good. I can still take trips and me and my man are happy. Like that's success to me now. Yeah. And so it took me like losing that contract in March to realize that now. And so when I talked about moving, like I could care less at this point. Mm-hmm. As long as the apartment has good sunlight for content, I'm good.
That's so big. That's such a major thing.
Right.
Like that really makes an apartment or breaks it. And at the end of the day, you're getting the same experience. I feel like when you move into somewhere very flashy and fancy, it's nice for the first month when you're in love, but with anything in life, the more you're in it, it's like anything else.
It's anything else.
Mm-hmm. It has running water. Right. It has a roof over your head. It has the exact same things. It's just it has a little bit more paint, or it has a certain type of countertop or something like that. So I completely get that. And I feel like once you start to be more quote unquote successful and you start to make more and more money, everything else in your life will get raised too. Like you raise your rent, you raise your groceries, you shop at a more prestigious grocery store, every bill raises with it. So it's like, are you really making more money because you're netting the same amount, or you have like the same ability to spend free money that you did before?
Well, you see all these celebrities, like they have the money and yet they're still like depressed. Like it's not everything. And it did take this situation for me to find out, like, girl, it's not even that serious. Get you a place that has good sunlight and you'll be fine. And so,
you really will. A good location, I feel like, good sunlight, and you're surrounded by good people.
Right.
Material things will never actually make you happy. They will give you dopamine. They will give you some of that, but they will never make you happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we see a lot of like on social media things that we like would like and that are nice to have, but my therapist always goes through sessions with me where she's like, what defines success for you? Like, paint a picture of what a really successful life looks for you. And I'm like, well, I just want to be able to like comfortably afford our rent and like be able to travel and, you know, have a schedule that I love. And like when I define it, I'm like, oh, I have that. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, what do you know? It's actually very achievable. And then it's like everything else is just perks.
it
you know?
is. Yeah. No, that's so good.
In the jewelry industry, what would you say some of your pros and your cons are with being an entrepreneur and just the niche of being in jewelry specifically as well?
I actually am friends with a lot of like other small jewelry business owners. I love that we, like, I have a friend in Puerto Rico. Like, she texts me and she's like, hey, I saw that you use this and this. Like, where'd you get that? And I tell her, but it is very competitive when you start like selling the same things, and not so much like competitive, like, oh, I have to sell more than her. It's like, girl, you stole that from me.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
So
I could see that.
but it is the small jewelry business owners on like Instagram. Now, when you get into like these big, like old money type of, companies, I don't know much about them and I don't really, interact. I actually went to a jewelry, those conferences. I was the only like young black woman there.
Wow.
I was like, because it's a lot of old money in jewelry.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am in the room with them. I didn't feel comfortable in the room, but I was there. And so that's like one thing that was really interesting to me is like, I sell on social media and they were like, who are you? What do you do? And then they'd look like, I have like enough like followers on social media. And they're like, you just sell on Instagram? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, oh. Because it's like a lot of old money jewelers from New York or LA. Yeah. And I was in the room. I was the only one that looked like me, but that was interesting. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. I cannot even imagine showing up and being like, why are all these old white men here?
It literally
selling jewelry.
Yeah.
What do y'all know?
But yeah, I mean, it's been in there. It's like jewelry is like a family business. And I kind of like broke into that. And I was like, oh, I'm in the room. Like, it was just like, it was weird. But I do appreciate the other small businesses that are on social media because we're a tight-knit group.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you're really supportive of them too because you just started consulting and like kind of coaching, right?
Yeah. The girl, she's been posting all the pictures that you guys did for her.
Good.
She loves it. Yeah. And I help with like her email flows and marketing and stuff and starting out. And so, yeah. But yeah, I love my name. Monique means advisor. So I really lean into that and I try to help where I can, especially like if you want the help and you want to listen. So like I had a client and Valerie did the photos for the young lady and she's been posting all of it and her feed looks so good.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah. And I love that too because like you said, like it's kind of a competitive industry, but at the same time, like there is no competition because everyone's doing it different. Everyone has a different market. There's enough people to go around to wear the jewelry. And even if somebody does everything that you did by the book, they won't catch up to you and they won't overlap you. Like there's nothing like that. So it's like there's no harm in helping people if they're willing to do it, if they want your help, you know? So it's really, I feel like there's not enough people in the entrepreneurship space who are willing to give help like that either.
I know that there's like a few people on Instagram that try to copy me, but they never like finish it out. They can't, because one thing about me, and there's this I did a one-on-one call, and she's like, how do you get sales? And she's like, I show up, and I was like, I share, then sell, share, and then sell. And when you're trying to copy me and you're just trying to sell to people because you see me like doing, I was like, you don't have the sauce, like you can't. So like, and they're like, I don't understand. And I'm like, I share, and I don't know. I don't want to be too salesy. At the end of the day, I love my community. And I think that's most important to me. Like, even if you never buy a piece from me, like a lot of people just share my reels. So it's okay.
Yeah.
I feel like when you come from a place of giving and you come from a place of authenticity. Hello. Thank you. When you come from a place of authenticity, it just, whenever you're copying someone, you can just feel it. You can just feel their lack of authenticity. You can just feel that it's not genuine, and you can just, it feels salesy. It feels like they want you to buy something. It doesn't feel like it has a person behind it. And it is frustrating when you see that, but I also think in a way it's the biggest compliment, because they're like, okay, I want to be like this person. They're doing it right and they're inspiring.
But you know, it is I don't know if
Trust me, I've dealt with it.
Yeah.
I've dealt with, like, as a content creator, like, people in my circle copy and pasting exactly what I do. And it is so frustrating because it's like you're taking my essence. Like, that's me, and you're like trying to capitalize off of it.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to make money off of me, it feels like, you know?
Yeah, but you know what? They don't really go far being somebody else that they're not.
No.
Because there's no way to do it like truly, like genuinely.
No.
The guy that was
the energy.
It was a guy, and he does all of my affirmations. If I come out with something, he does it. I said to him, I was like, you cannot sustain being me. So keep trying. It's okay. You can't sustain being me. Sure enough, he can't. And like, I was like, you just wasted all of your money just trying to like just copy me. You can't sustain being me. I'm me. Like, do you, like, what are you doing?
And that can't feel good to anyone else either. Like, it can't feel good to not be showing up as yourself and from your own creative, like running your business from your own creation, and not feeling like you can bring enough to the plate that it will work.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's like coming from a place of desperation. And it's like, that's just icky.
Yeah, definitely.
That's actually one of like the number one advice like that I give people that want to start a business. I said, do not start from a place of desperation. When I feel like me moving in with my sister, me like putting my ego aside, like starting from the bottom, but having enough money set aside to like get my business started, I felt like that was such a good foundation. Starting a business from desperation and you're trying to just sell it because you want the money or you want whatever lifestyle, like you can't do that. Like, people can feel that too.
Yeah. Nothing good comes from, like, no relationship, nothing good comes from desperate energy.
Yeah, I completely agree. Whenever you're just trying to catch up
Right.
to where you think you're supposed to be, that's a lot of stress. I don't know why you'd even want to put yourself through that.
No.
Doesn't sound nice. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you so much. Let everyone know
I love this.
where they can find you and buy from you and all that and support you.
Yeah, so I'm primarily on Instagram, Bold by Monique. It's BLDX, Monique, MONIQE. And yeah, send me a DM or leave me a comment. I love talking to like our customers and our followers in the DMs. So
And we'll link everything in the show notes so they can easily click away and shop all the jewelry.
Thank you so much. It was so nice talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Hot Girls Cry podcast.
If you've enjoyed this episode, show some love and support with a rating and review.
Or keep the conversation going over on our socials.
TTYL.